y'all could have came and kicked it with us a long time ago. The Cavs are back in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2018.
You know, it's really nice for the Pistons to allow their staff to have an early vacation, you know? Cavs and Pistons, Game 7 is supposed to be the two best words in all of sports. Now, here's the thing. The Pistons have been 5-0 at home in Game 7s in franchise history, and sometimes those stats mean absolutely nothing. Cavs already up. Donovan Mitchell hits that three, makes it a 9-point lead. Final seconds of the quarter, Mitchell again. How many threes did he make in this game? 2. Them's it. Right there. Didn't need him to make.
I was getting ready to say, didn't need anymore.
Cavs up 31-22 at the end of the first. Now in the second quarter, Mitchell driving, finds Evan Mobley to make it a 10-point lead. Then a couple of minutes later, Cavs up comfortably. James Harden to Jarrett Allen at the rim. Cavs up 16. They absolutely dominated in the paint. They outscored the Pistons by 24. 5 to play in the second quarter. It's always fun when somebody unexpected steps up. How about Sam Merrill knocking down that three? 15 points in the first half. Reminder, off the bench. Cavs at 15 after the free throw. Mitchell now driving, dishing. Allen for that one. The Cavs had 18 assists in the first half. The Pistons had 16 field goals. Is that bad? Cavs were up 64-47 at the break. Now we go to the third, because that's how this works. Cavs up 17. Allen off the screen, coming in hot. Make it a 19-point lead. Then more Merrill. He had 15 in the first half. He finished with 23. That right there makes it a 19-point lead for the Cavs. Then more Mitchell, because why not? Cavs up 90-69. The largest lead in this game was 35. It's only 23 there. Mitchell, 26 points. Cavs were up 99-73 at the end of the third. Guess what? No changes in the fourth. No notes for the Cavs. In fact, this lead was so big in a Game 7 in Detroit, Pistons fans were like, we are out of here. They started filing out early. The fourth was really not necessary. Cavs win. They hand the Pistons their first Game 7 loss at home in franchise history, 125-94. Again, they had never lost a Game 7 on their home court before this one. Again, some stats are useless. The Cavs, meanwhile, have won 6 straight Game 7s, which is the second longest Game 7 win streak in NBA history. The only longer run belongs to Bill Russell's Celtics, who won 10 in a row back in their heyday.
Now, Nicole, although it was a rout, there's still plenty to break down. Thank goodness we got Chiney Ogwumike here to do just that. This was a runaway tilt out the gate. Cleveland set the tempo and ran with it from there. What allowed the Cavaliers to be so dominant in this Game 7, Chiney?
They didn't just run. They sprinted. They looked like Olympians out there with how they took control of this game. I mean, Believeland is back. The best sign of Cleveland's health is the production of their post players. When Allen and Mobley are thriving, Cleveland is in peak form. And let's focus on Evan Mobley because he is truly their X factor. Let's break it down here because when he's creating off the dribble, this is always a great sign. He has good synergy with Donovan Mitchell. Here it's a slam dribble handoff. But what I like is how aggressive he is downhill. Watch his hands. He's going to point and say, hey, throw it up there so I can finish. This is a team that plays with authority when they win. They dunk the ball so many times, their post players. That's good offense. Again, you're going to see how great he is moving without the basketball. If you sleep on the backside, I'm going to teach. Once again, fully engaged Evan Mobley to really get to the rim. And these are the looks that are just priceless for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's how dominant they were. Lastly, I love this because he's locked in from sideline to sideline, baseline to baseline. He's helping his guards get open. An entire squad is in front of him. It does not matter. When he has this much time and space, he is truly comfortable. Then he gets to the dribble handoff. He's so good at slam screens where he can occupy multiple defenders. But then again, he could have scored on this possession, but instead his teammates knocked down the three, but he's engaged. He's like, count it. It felt like he was scoring when he was creating in those moments. So Evan Mobley, a huge game. You think about 21 points, 12 rebounds, but most importantly, the 6 assists. When he is creating through his dribbling, through his scoring, through his aggression, this is the best version of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, real quick for the folks at home, we will have full post-game coverage. We will hear from both players and coaches at the podium in moments. Just stick with us here on SportsCenter. But you sort of posing Evan Mobley as the Karl Anthony Towns within that offense. He's coupled with a Jared Allen who plays more of a Mitchell Robinson role. Speaking of the team that they'll end up playing here in the Eastern Conference Finals, I appreciate that kudos, but I would much rather you give the full breakdown and assessment of how this front court really does exude excellence every time they hit the floor.
Trev, am I rubbing off on you? That's
now.
excellent analysis right there, because right now you have kind of that Spider-Man meme, because they have a duality that really works for them, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the second piece of that being Jared Allen. This man, we should start calling him Jared Game 7 Allen, because he had 22 and 19 in the first round versus the Raptors. And then what did he do today? 23 and 7. These are guys, a lot of people used to say, criticize him after last year. He's not strong enough. He's not tough enough. Well, guess what? He heard that criticism and responded with his game. He is playing with force. He's playing with authority. And most importantly, he's showing that the old school big, not just the hair, but in the game, the old school big still has a meaningful place in this NBA, coupled with the versatility of Evan Mobley. I love their front court.
So we got Game 7, Jared Allen. We also had Black History Month, Jared Allen. That was a special creature as well. Just look those numbers up in February if you want to. But right now, we're going to check in with J.B. Bickerstaff. He was at the podium after the loss for the Pistons.
It's not the effort, right? I'm not disappointed in these guys in the least bit. Obviously not the way we would have liked it to gone. But I'll never be disappointed in their effort. They gave us what they had. The Cavs just outplayed us tonight, and you give them credit for it.
Coach, I'm along those same lines. What is your biggest takeaway about this team with everything that you guys accomplished this season?
This team is awesome, and they're a special group of guys. I couldn't be more appreciative of how they allow us to coach them, work with them every single day, the spirit they carry, their willingness to grow, their willingness to sacrifice. And it's a special group. And, again, I can't be more thankful than to be a part of this and to be able to work with these guys.
JB, defense has been the name of the game for you guys this season. What did you feel like was missing, and particularly, defending the post against Allen?
It was more like, he got the ball in his spots off the glass and things like that. But we knew, they had X-Factor guys that had the ability to contribute, not just, not that he's an X-Factor, he's an all-star, but like, Sam Merrill early in the game, Jared Allen, on the boards and playing. So we knew it was going to be a tough series and a tough test for us. But just like we did last year, we'll learn from it. We'll put it in our pocket. We'll get better from it. And next year we'll grow and be a better team.
JB, in the third quarter, the cameras had you there talking to your team, and you said, we've got to find our competitive spirit. You told your team that. Why wasn't that there tonight? Why do where do you think that?
Well, I think we had gotten down, and when we got down, we started trying to figure out other ways to win the game instead of, who we've been. And I just wanted to make the point to the guys, that we do it the way that Pistons do it, and we had to find that in order to give ourselves a chance.
Did you feel like Cleveland, since they had lost last game, brought a desperation that you guys couldn't necessarily match tonight?
No, they're a good team. They're a talented team, and, I thought their talent was clicking tonight. I thought they were better defensively tonight than they were previous games in the series. So I just give them credit. They won the game tonight.
JB, just you guys took a step last year, take another big step this year. Playing at home, Game 7, especially what you've just done in Cleveland, how big of a disappointment?
It's not a disappointment at all. I'm not ever will I be disappointed in these guys. These guys every single day give us what they got. So it is not a disappointment. It's a loss, and it's a tough loss. But that adjective will never be used this group.
It's not. I'm not saying in the guys necessarily, but the season as a whole, and also I'm sure you had higher expectations. Falling far short of that, I guess, is that.
I don't think we fell short of anything, and I don't like the direction of your question. I'll be honest with you. These guys have improved massively and done a great job. Anything other than positivity towards this group is unacceptable. The turnaround from where we've come from, what these guys have been willing to do. Yeah, everybody wants to win a championship every year. But, how much did you grow? How much did you improve? Did you sacrifice for the greater good of the team? Our guys did that collectively every single day. and we got better. We put ourselves in position to be here. So there's nothing disappointing about this group and the outcome of this.
Considering just the level of growth you help foster here, what are some of the things you're most, I guess, excited to kind of take forward in the next season to continue growing?
Well, I mean, it's the guys' ability and willingness to grow, right? Their willingness to be coached, to be able to look in the mirror, honestly see themselves in areas they can improve, and then the willingness to go put the time and the work in to get it done.
JB, is it a safe assumption to say that maybe this team just ran out of gas? I mean, you had 2 long series. You had to really dig deep, desperation in a couple of games to survive and advance.
I mean, we again, what we've done throughout this playoff series and throughout this season, again, was remarkable, right? To be down 3-1, learn from it as quickly as we did, be able to come back and then take a team, as good as the Cavs to 7 games. Again, would we have preferred the other outcome? Yes, but these guys gave us what they had, and every single night they gave us what they had, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Thank y'all.
Okay, so JB Bickerstaff defending his squad on the way out the postmortem. Janae Ogwumike back with specs off, so I know she's really about to get into it. Right when we talk about this Detroit Pistons team, still in search of their first conference finals appearance since 2008. What are the shortcomings on this roster?
First, I want to put things into context. And, I took my glasses off because I was like, a little emotional because I felt like those guys, they tried so hard this year. I'm a glass half full type of gal. And I feel like people forget that just 3 seasons ago, this was a team that tied the NBA worst record with 28 straight losses. They were in the gutter. They finished that year, I think, just 1 game off of the worst record in the league. 3 seasons later, Cade Cunningham is in the conversation for MVP. This is a squad that finished number 1 in the regular season in the East. And to answer your question, they got to get Cade some help. He is a bad man. I know we talk about the bad boy Pistons. He's a bad man. And sometimes he has to do, I wouldn't even say sometimes, most of the times he's had to do bad all by himself. That's not sustainable in this NBA. You see so many squads where they have 1, 2, 3, even looking at the Cavaliers, 4 options, 4 guys playing really well. And so they need to get more balance offensively to support him. They need to find a better secondary creator. Tobias Harris tried all he could, and Jalen Duren had to do better. He has to improve in these meaningful games. But right now, their universe is around Cade, and they have to find ways to get him more help in the future.
Okay, so help me strike the balance, though, because obviously a common narrative with young teams like the Pistons is there's a measure of learning you have to do, especially on stages like this one. So how much is it that the roster may not necessarily have the tools that it needs, and also there is a matter of building towards something that this team still has to do?
Yeah, they're going to have to play on the fringes with their roster because, again, that secondary creator, especially a wing, is very important. The reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers are sitting in the Eastern Conference Finals is because they made a daring move to get James Harden, who is a secondary creator. He actually is the primary version because he's the one that unlocks the Jaron Allen and Evan Mobley's. That key piece allowed Donovan Mitchell to take his load and from here down to here. And they need to have that same type of output decrease for Cade because he's going to be effective. We know this guy's a walking bucket. He impressed me so much this postseason. But out of all players in the NBA playoffs, I was like, that guy has to shoulder the heaviest load. And so if they can find a wing, a secondary true creator, not just shooters to space the floor, not just post players that are dynamic, if they can find a secondary creator, that will help them get over the mountaintop. And lastly, I'll say this. Sometimes you have to go through it to get to it. And they went through it and they continue to go through it. But now they're learning these requisite lessons for them to find success. Because with growth comes growing pains. And this is just the pains of being Detroit right now.
Yeah, you heard JB Bickerstaff mention it. The effort second to none. It's just a matter of understanding how quickly you need to learn these lessons if you want to advance a little bit further. But let's switch over to the winning side of things. Kenny Atkinson for the Cavs at the podium.
Yep, you got to take it. Yeah, no, he told me. I didn't read it. He told me I got them in 7. So I didn't read it. I don't read him.
Hey, Kenny. You said before the game that you just needed Donovan Mitchell to beat Donovan Mitchell tonight. In what way do you feel like that manifested itself?
He was better than Donovan Mitchell. Is that possible? I don't know if I can. That's like bad English. He started with him. His defense, rebounding, and then when he gets in the paint and starts making other people better, the dish offs to our big guys. That was the key, I felt like, to the game. So he had complete control of the game. Listen, man, I couldn't be happier for him. To make that next step. He's going home, to New York. He kept this thing together this year when things weren't going great. He was the beacon, the light, his leadership. He carried us on the court, right? Sam Merrill out 30 games, Evan out, J.A. out. He was the guy that carried us. And then when things weren't going great, he was the person everyone looked to. And his positivity. And I would have said this if we lost. I had a plan. If we lost, I was going to say the same thing. We could have splintered. If your leader splintered, if he goes in another direction, which you very well could have, things weren't going great, but he stayed positive. He supported the young guys. He never got down on the group. So just, kind of more kudos to him, in terms of getting to that, the level he wanted to get to, and I know he wants more.
Game 7 on the road, given all the pressure and all the stakes, what does a performance like this show about this group?
When we play with force, it's really the key. Like force on both ends. With our talent, we're really hard to beat. What we got to answer, the question we got to answer, and we talked about in the locker room is, we can have forced letdowns, like Game 6, where we were not the forceful team, but tonight we were. That was the whole difference. Our force on both ends.
Kenny, understanding that this group has larger goals than just winning this game and advancing to the conference finals, this is a place that this group has not yet been. What does this accomplishment mean to you and to this group?
It's like, and everybody says, it doesn't mean that. No, it does mean something. I think it does. I think this was the next step for us. First day of training camp, I put up our playoff record over the last 3 years, 11-15. I've been saying all year we have a lot to prove. And we still have more to prove. That's kind of the next part of it. But we proved something to ourselves that we could take that another step. Just looking forward to this next challenge for us.
What is it with Jared Allen in Game 7s?
I don't know. I had dinner with Dan Gilbert last night. He came over to our hotel, and he goes, who the key to this whole thing is? I was thinking Harden, Mitch. He goes, the key to this whole thing, the spark of this is Jared Allen. I said, really? And that sparked me to run the first play for him. I'm like, man, have I been, sometimes you have, people who observe from afar, plus Dan knows the team well and knows these guys. It was really, I was like, man, I went to my room. I'm like, man, I'm going to run the first play for him, which I think got blown up with. But anyway, I'm like, man, we got to, and in our film session, we had to reward the big. Sometimes you have to be reminded. And that was great by Dan. He hit it on the head. He was prophetic.
Just felt like from the first quarter, you guys, to your word, like play with force. Mitchell was sort of distributing the ball. Just like what do you think led to that? Why do you think that you guys just kind of came out sort of hitting first from the jump?
You said it, Mitchell distributing the ball. I think that was a big part of it. Listen, I can't say I predicted that we were going to do that. Like Game 7, their arena, the crowd was, and it was across the board, right? I think we knew that start was monumental. The start, that they knew that we were here, and that we were going to give them some problems, And we talked about it today. We talked about it in our film session. At the beginning of the game, that was key. And then coming out of halftime is the same, same message. We got to win this first 5 minutes, to put them on their heels.
Janae's still holding us down here on SportsCenter. I know you want to get into the big talk because Kenny Atkinson showed so much love to the bigs, and I respect that. But I do want to lock in on the backcourt specifically. How are we able to get more out of Donovan Mitchell with him doing less ostensibly with the addition of James Harden?
Just look at this game as one game sample size, and that's your answer. Because what Coach Kenny just highlighted was his team, but most importantly, his superstar meeting the moment. Donovan Mitchell, these are his words, was better than Donovan Mitchell. And Don is a good player. He's a great player. He's an elite player. And I feel like all the quote unquote, respectfully, haters and all the detractors are going to be a little bit quieter tonight. Because Don, he finally got over the hump. The hump being he's finally made a conference finals. He has yet to do so until now. And so that's impressive. But to me, one thing I love that he highlighted was not just his scoring, which was 26 points. It was the team play led by Don. Don had 8 assists. The first thing I look at in a box score to see how connected a team is assists to field goals made. They had 31 assists, the Cleveland Cavaliers, to 43 field goals made. That is beautiful basketball led by their superstar who finally got over the hump and he met the moment. And so I'm excited to see, as he mentioned, him go back home to New York, the foe of all foes and the Knicks. It's building to be a storybook ending. It's going to be interesting.
And we have to get your thoughts on just that matchup, but that's in a little bit of time here on SportsCenter. Today, we appreciate it as always, homie.
Well done. We call that a tease in this business. The early odds, by the way, for the Cavs and the Knicks when things kick off in the Eastern Conference Finals. New York is minus 270 to win the series and a 6.5-point favor to take game one, which, by the way, is like 2.5 hours. And if you made the drive, if you're a Cavs fan, you had every reason to stick around and watch the 125-94 win. Pistons fans largely evacuated the building.
Yeah, they got up out of there. I mean,
like,
it also...
We're good.
Right. It also helps that 25 busloads were brought in by Dan Gilbert of Cavs fans, and they had that building rocking for Donovan Mitchell and them, who were really good offensively, despite their struggles on the road leading into this one from a shooting standpoint. Everyone contributed. Cavs led by as many as 20 in the first half. 64-47 was your score at the break. Those 64 points were the most they've scored in a road half this postseason. When you look at the shot chart, you see that we're getting any and everything that they wanted. Better than 50% from the field. Better than 40% from three. The ball was moving around. The offense looked easy. It was aesthetic. You heard from Chiney Ogwumike earlier just talking about just the brand of basketball they were playing. Here a prime example. Jared Allen getting to a tough move. Gets the lay, puts the Cavs up 23. And then Allen one more time off the dime, just throwing it down. James Harden may not have done much from a point standpoint, but he got it done offensively. And then here Donovan Mitchell getting it done himself, part of his 26-point night. And then Mitchell, nasty step back three. Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell assisted or scored on 26 of the Cavs, 35 points in the third quarter. Cavs win. Tobias Harris after the tough performance.
Feeling at this moment?
Disappointed, obviously. Tough way to go out. Overall for us as a group, I just think, just disappointed, really.
Do you feel like you guys missed the mark on just the way you guys have been playing defense this postseason, this season, and from the start of this game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we couldn't find our defense tonight. Early on in the game, they were spraying out, getting threes. They were winning the 50-50 battle, rebound battle, possession game. And that's a big catalyst to our offense, getting out in transition and running. Early in the game, we didn't have enough momentum plays to really establish ourselves. Outside of it, I think being tied up at 13 at one point. But for us overall, I mean, it was just from then on, it was just tough in the half court for our offense, and we didn't find our defense all night.
Whenever they took that.
Shanae is back. So now the Eastern Conference Finals, that is now set. You've got the Cavs and you've got the Knicks, game 1 at the Garden. Let's just start there with the matchup. How do these two teams match up against each other?
Briscoe, I need you to take the energy up because this is lit. We've got two teams that are playing really great basketball in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Knicks and the Cavs. And guess what, sis? The matchups are amazing. I think that the first 40 minutes are going to be dictated by the paint. I love this paint matchup between Karl Anthony Towns taking on Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Cat, we've seen in the postseason, he's already had multiple triple doubles. They sort of revitalized how you view Karl Anthony Towns because before we thought, oh, he's a three-point shooter and the best proclaimed, shooting big man, but then he's been able to have passing games similar to the Cleveland Cavalier front court. Those two have equally been dynamic as a tandem. Mobley off the dribble, Allen with force and authority. And I love how they were talking about, I think it was Coach Kenny Atkinson, saying, hey, he's our X factor, even though we thought it was Mobley. So if you think about the paint, the first 40 minutes, I think will be dictated there. If Cat's passing can really dictate, or will it be the other side? But lastly, I'll say this. The final 8 minutes, the closing time, the winning time, my goodness, we might have a shootout between Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, a former Clutch Player of the Year. We all know he can close the game. He can do bad by himself as well. But more importantly, we've seen the best also of Donovan Mitchell. This man had a 39, I believe, points second half. So anytime he goes on a heat check, it can be lethal. So whether it's the paint or the perimeter, this one to me will probably go the distance and we'll see 7 games.
Okay.
Because Donovan Mitchell, he's been special, Nicole. He's been special. And they've been waiting for a moment where he's able to capitalize. Nicole, I feel like this is the best we've ever seen him, the best version of him as a leader.
It's also the best we've seen of the Knicks, but there's a massive difference because the Cavs have been tested. And a little bit like we heard that question posed to the Pistons, like, did you guys just run out of gas? At this point, the Cavs have been far more tested than the Knicks have been. How is that going to come into play?
Oh, I would rather be the team that's fresh. I think New York Knicks.
Yes.
Look, I don't like making picks or selections, right? I call them manifestations. And it's been 50-something years since they've won a championship. I think this is New York's year. And I don't want to freak anybody out in New York. But no one is playing better basketball with all of their key pieces than the New York Knicks. And sometimes we forget because we haven't seen them on the floor in a moment. But they have looked sensational. The changes, the defense, the engagement, and also the depth that they have is something so different. And so when you talk about being tested, tested comes with playing extended amount of minutes, an extended amount of games, and a quicker turnaround because game 1 is going to be on Tuesday, I believe, in 48 hours, where the Knicks are sitting at home with their notepad, plotting and scheming. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby being available. The depth that they have, to me, is going to help them very much to hopefully potentially get to the NBA Finals.
It is Tuesday, by the way. Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Just clarifying that for you. I have all the information.
Thank you.
Also, it's on the screen. Running game.
Cade, could you, here I am. Could you figure out what happened early on, what hit you guys, and how hard was that to fathom right out of the box?
I mean, both teams came out to win the game. Just went their way. I don't really have an answer outside of that.
Cade, obviously the team accomplished a lot this season. Not how you wanted it to end tonight, but where's your mind at now? And I guess how do you reconcile those two things, understanding that this team made a lot of progress, but obviously didn't end the season on the note you guys wanted to end it on?
Yeah. That game sucked. Being back home, definitely wanted to get this win in front of the fans. Reminded me of last year, losing on the home court. It's not a great feeling. So I hadn't been thinking about the off season. So, my mind's been racing now, trying to figure out, what I got to do what it's going to look like. That's really it.
Just immediately, how do you kind of feel you can continue to grow from this season, and what has kind of inspired that growth?
I mean, working on my body, becoming a better athlete, things like that. All those things will help me a lot. Continuing to sharpen my game. My game feels sharp right now. But, building off where I'm at right now and continuing to add on and, become the best player I can be. All those things are on the forefront of my mind. And, I have time to, work on those things. So, I'm just focused on how I can get better now.
Can you talk about what this game was like, especially early on when so much was on the line and all of a sudden you look up, you're down 10, down 15, down 20. Osser said that he felt like they came out and kind of hit you first, and he said you guys always want to be in a position to hit first and make them react and not have to react to the other thing. Was there some of that going on? Did it feel almost stunning to sort of be in that situation during this game?
I mean, stunning. Felt like early on, some of the plays just, were bad bounces or miscommunications, giving them points and stuff. Felt like it was something that we'll be able to fix, and we just never got it together. So credit to them. They did everything they needed to do to win the game tonight, and we fell short of that.
Okay, obviously it's fresh, and JB was saying he refused to say this was a disappointment season just based on what you guys were able to do. You talked about it, like what you want to grow at, but what's something about this season or these playoffs that you are proud of, you can't hang your hat on just from this experience as well?
I mean, he's right. We had a great year. We grew a lot, grew from last year. That was the whole goal of this season, was to grow and become a better team than last year, and we did that. Obviously, disappointing series right here. Fell short of doing enough of the right things to win the series. But we were #1 seed for a reason. We won a lot of games this year. We played great basketball all year long. Really established the identity and stuff that we didn't have for a long time. So, all those things are positives and things that we'll take into the off season and come back next year and grow from.
Kate, kind of going off of that, in the 2 short years that JB Bickerstaff and Trajan Langdon have been here, the standard is raised quite significantly here for this Pistons team. Just as you do kind of reflect and head into the offseason, I know obviously a lot of negative feelings about how the season ended, but, how grateful are you not only just for, JB, Trajan, what they've brought here, but also just everyone in that locker room that you fought alongside this season?
Yeah, very grateful. I'm grateful for the whole season. Grateful that everybody, came out of the season healthy. Nothing crazy. But like you said, I mean, starting with the guys in the locker room, we had a lot of fun this year, competing with each other. Practice, flights, games, obviously, had a lot of fun. We bonded more than any other team that I've had in the NBA. And, a lot of that is a credit to coach and, just the environment that he instilled, Trajan, the environment that they instilled in the building. Things that are business, but also we have fun together and we enjoy our time with each other. So, I can't thank everybody enough for, just creating that environment, allowing us to grow in the way we did, and all the support that, I've had and the whole team has had this season.
Cade, knowing that you guys didn't as a collective play your very best game to finish the season, how much does that fuel you all going forward into not only next season but the off season and what you could probably do, what you want to do from here?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, it's hard not to. It was a great opportunity this season, to move forward and to continue to, experience new things that we hadn't been exposed to. Fell short. We were right there, but we fell short. So, I think that chip and that sting is going to sit for a while, and got to work through it and continue to grow. Thank you.
As promised, the dynamic duo of Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell at the podium, new on SportsCenter.
I think the biggest thing is just, a response from Game 6, right? I think at the end of the day, we did a lot of really good things for 3.5 games, right? And then Game 6 was a letdown, and ultimately it's just how do you respond? I've been saying to you that since I got here, right? It's not always going to be just straightforward black and white, and it was a little bit of a blow to us how we respond, how we came out Game 6. But the biggest thing is we responded with force for 48 minutes tonight, right? Like there was no life, especially in a hostile environment, but. That was the biggest thing. It's just how do you respond and not letting the moment become too big.
And then I know that you have bigger goals as an individual. I know that you have bigger goals as a team, but this is the first time that you have gotten to the conference finals. For you, what does this mean?
A breath of fresh air, but like you said, we didn't just come here that wasn't the goal when we started the season. Even last year, when we lost Indiana, we had our goals set on getting to the finals. And we're just one step closer. But yeah, it's been almost a decade of running into the same issue, right? Like, you know what I mean? So sure, I personally and as a team, we can breathe a little bit, but in the same token, we can only breathe for about 12 hours and then get right back to it. So it's a balance. It's a blessing. God is good. I wouldn't be here without my teammates, but we got work to do coming up for sure.